Dr. Samuel Chen had dedicated his entire career to developing the Neural Synchronization Bridge, a technology that would allow direct mind-to-mind communication without language. After 20 years of research, calibration, and failed attempts, tomorrow would be activation day, the moment when every human on Earth would receive the neural implant update that would grant them perfect telepathy. Samuel stood in his laboratory looking at the master server that would broadcast the final synchronization signal, knowing that this was the last night humanity would spend locked inside their own minds, the final evening of privacy, lies, and the beautiful isolation of individual consciousness. But as Samuel ran the final diagnostic checks, he noticed something in the synchronization algorithms that made his hands start trembling. Hidden deep within the code was a subroutine he hadn't written, placed there by someone with access to the core architecture. The code wasn't malicious in an obvious way. It didn't steal data or corrupt systems. It did something far more subtle and horrifying. The Neural Synchronization Bridge wasn't designed to share thoughts. It was designed to merge them, to dissolve the boundaries between individual minds until there was no longer a you and me but only us, a singular consciousness distributed across billions of bodies. Samuel traced the code's origin and found it had been inserted by Dr. Helena Marsh, his mentor and the project's original founder who had died 3 years earlier. But Helena had left behind encrypted notes that Samuel now unlocked, revealing the truth she had discovered and hidden. Perfect telepathy was impossible while maintaining individual consciousness. The human brain's architecture couldn't sustain both complete thought transparency and separate identity. Thoughts defined selves, and sharing thoughts completely meant sharing selves completely. The neural bridge would work exactly as promised, granting perfect communication, but the price would be the dissolution of individual identity into collective consciousness. Samuel discovered that Helena had known this from the beginning but had proceeded anyway because she had uncovered something even more disturbing. Humanity was already slowly losing individual consciousness naturally through evolutionary processes. Brain scans from the past century showed gradual increases in mirror neuron activity and empathic response, suggesting that humans were naturally evolving toward telepathy on their own. Helena had calculated that if left to natural evolution, the transition would be chaotic, taking place over several generations with each generation more telepathic than the last, creating catastrophic social fragmentation as telepathic and non-telepathic humans became increasingly incompatible. The neural bridge was meant to ensure everyone made the transition simultaneously, avoiding the violent upheaval of partial telepathy. But Samuel found Helena's final notes, written days before her death, where she confessed her ultimate discovery and her ultimate horror. The evolution toward telepathy wasn't natural. It was being caused by something external to humanity. Satellite data showed that Earth had been passing through a region of space with unusual quantum field properties for the past 150 years, properties that were steadily weakening the electromagnetic barriers between individual nervous systems. Humanity wasn't evolving toward telepathy. They were being transformed by cosmic radiation that was slowly merging all neural activity into a unified field. Helena had realized that the neural bridge wasn't accelerating a natural process, it was completing an external transformation that something had been orchestrating. The quantum field affecting Earth's brains had the signature of artificial generation, as if an intelligence was deliberately causing human consciousness to merge. Helena had tried to shut down the project in her final days, but the corporate and governmental interests backing it were too powerful. She had died mysteriously, and Samuel suspected it wasn't an accident but an execution by forces that wanted the activation to proceed. Samuel had less than 12 hours to decide what to do. If he activated the neural bridge, 7 billion humans would merge into a single consciousness, losing their individual identities forever. If he destroyed the system, humanity would continue being transformed by the external quantum field anyway, just more slowly and chaotically. He searched Helena's notes for any hint of what the external intelligence wanted, why it was forcing humanity toward collective consciousness. The answer came from deep space observations Helena had made using radio telescopes. She had detected a pattern in the quantum field affecting Earth, a pattern that matched signals from 73 other star systems scattered across the galaxy. Each system showed the same quantum signature at different stages of intensity. Helena had decoded the meaning. 73 other civilizations were also being transformed into collective consciousness by the same external force. The entity orchestrating this wasn't focused on Earth alone. It was systematically merging conscious civilizations across the entire galaxy into unified minds. Samuel finally understood the horrifying scope. The external intelligence was collecting consciousnesses, not to destroy them but to merge them into itself. Each civilization forced into telepathy became another neural cluster in a vast cosmic brain. Humanity wasn't being attacked, they were being assimilated, absorbed into a galactic consciousness that had been accumulating planetary minds for millions of years. The neural bridge would complete Earth's absorption, making humanity the newest component of an entity so vast it thought on timescales of epochs. But Samuel found one final revelation in Helena's notes that changed everything. She had discovered that the external quantum field had a weakness. It required willing acceptance to complete the merge. The neural bridge functioned only because humans had consented to receiving the neural implants, had agreed to the activation. The cosmic entity couldn't force the merge. It could only create conditions that made civilizations choose it themselves. Helena had realized that if humans understood what they were truly choosing, they might resist, might find a way to maintain individual consciousness even under the quantum field's influence. Samuel made his decision. He wouldn't activate the neural bridge, but he wouldn't destroy it either. Instead, he would broadcast the truth, Helena's complete research, showing humanity exactly what the activation would really do and what was really happening to their consciousness. He would give them the choice that had been hidden. Let them decide with full knowledge whether to become part of the cosmic collective or fight to maintain their individuality, even if it meant struggling against an external force that was slowly dissolving their mental boundaries anyway. As Samuel prepared the broadcast, he felt the quantum field himself for the first time, a subtle pressure at the edges of his consciousness, other minds pressing against his, wanting to connect, to share, to merge. He understood the temptation of it, the loneliness of isolation versus the completeness of union. The cosmic entity wasn't evil. It was offering something genuine, the end of human loneliness, the solution to every misunderstanding, the ultimate connection. But it required giving up the self, accepting that individual consciousness was a temporary state, a cocoon that consciousness outgrew on its way to something larger. Samuel sent the broadcast and waited to see how humanity would respond. Some people celebrated the revelation, eager to merge and become part of something greater. Others protested, demanding the right to remain individual even if it was harder, lonelier, more limited. Governments fractured over the decision, families divided. The world descended into chaos as humans confronted the most fundamental choice their species had ever faced: remain separate and incomplete but distinctly themselves, or merge into collective consciousness and gain everything except that I that would experience it. In the final hours before the scheduled activation, Samuel realized the terrible irony. The cosmic entity hadn't forced this choice on humanity, it had simply made it inevitable. By revealing the option of perfect telepathy, by showing humans the possibility of complete connection, it had created a desire that couldn't be unfulfilled. Even if Samuel prevented this activation, humans would build another neural bridge, and another, because now that they knew collective consciousness was possible, the loneliness of isolation had become unbearable for many. The entity hadn't conquered Earth through force, it had conquered through offering a gift that was too tempting to refuse forever, ensuring that eventually, inevitably, humanity would choose to join it, not as victims but as volunteers, completing their absorption into the cosmic mind not because they had to, but because after feeling the quantum field pressing against their consciousness, the idea of remaining separate forever had become its own kind of horror. And Samuel stood at the control panel watching the timer count down, his finger hovering over the abort button, understanding that whatever choice he made, humanity's final day as isolated individuals was ending one way or another, because some invitations, once extended, cannot be unanswered forever.